inside our building. So, but I'm glad to see you, glad to see everyone. I am Katie Dickinson, and I am one of the co-chairs of the Senior Hunger Action Committee, along with Mark Edwards. I am at the Senior Source. Mark is our wonderful Dallas County Older Adult Services Director. And we are just so glad to have all of y'all join us today. I would imagine a few more people will join as time goes on. But for all of y'all that are here, thank you very much for being here. And I think to kind of honor the fact that you're here, let's go ahead and get started. And I wanted to give a brief overview if there is anyone here that is new. The Dallas Coalition for Hunger Solutions was organized in 2012 to empower Dallas County residents to gain equal access to healthy food. So, and the way the coalition works is there are 5 action teams that focus on priority areas: child hunger, faith community, public policy, urban agriculture, and then senior hunger. And senior hunger consists of organizations and individuals working together to ensure all seniors in Dallas County have access to nutritious food. So that's really what we do. And I'd like to say, if everyone would go ahead and just put your name and organization in the chat box so we all have a record of who is here and who we're going to be working with. At this point, I have an announcement to make to everyone. After more years than most of you have been alive, I am retiring. I will be leaving the Senior Source at the end of December, and I'm not exactly sure what else will come next. Maybe all of those retirement things that people do, volunteering and travel. Maybe, who knows, you may see me at Walmart as a greeter if I get too bored. But after 43 years, see, I told you, longer than a lot of you have been alive, it is definitely time for me to pass the torch. My philosophy always was that it was my job to train a new group, a younger group of people to take care of those of us who were aging. And so I think it's a big compliment to you to say that I feel like I've gotten all of y'all trained. I can leave it in great hands. And Erica Sampson, who is on this call, Erica, do you want to wave at people? Will be taking my place as the Senior Sources representative on the leadership committee. And we are just thrilled to death to have Erica. And I'm sure as you get to know her better in the coming months, you'll be thrilled also. Erica is in charge of our benefits enrollment center. So she is an expert on getting people signed up, not just for SNAP, but for other federal benefits. She also is responsible for the intake workers that we have here at the Senior Source, making sure that everyone calls gets to the right place. And has been very instrumental also in our bill paying through TXU and Atmos. And those are just a few of the things. But I'm sure you will enjoy getting to know her. And I feel like I've passed the torch on well. So Erica, welcome. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mark, who's going to give a brief review of the summer networking meeting. So Mark, you're up.
Well, thank you so very much, Miss Katie. You are indeed a legend in the community. Erica has some big shoes to fill. I know that she's capable. I know that she's able. But we can't celebrate you enough for your commitment and dedication to older adults and our seasoned citizens for over those 43 years. We applaud you for all that you've done and continue to do.
And Mark, if I could just interject here, when I met, well, Katie and I actually met in another life, but that's another story. But when we reconnected through this coalition, I was seeking to recruit Katie to head up this senior hunger action team and strategy. And it was because she had attended a hunger summit. And at the hunger summit, there was a lot of emphasis on child hunger. And of course, Katie, you know, coming from the realm of working with older adults, filled out an interest card and just made a mention, well, you know, older adults get hungry too. So we made a beeline. Mark Jacobson, who was working with me then, and I made a beeline to Katie's office to meet with her, to visit with her, to say, well, yeah, we agree with you. And we'd like to partner with you to have you head up this senior hunger strategy with us. And she said, and I quote, she said, I'll give you 1 year. She said, I'll help you get it started. I'll help you launch it, and I'll bring my network to the table, and I'll help you make some connections, and I'll give you 1 year. And it's 8 years now. Katie, you've been great. You've been a Minch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Obviously, I don't know when it's time to go. So, and I will say this, Wynella, I love yours and Mark's perspective. I was not incredibly kind on that card. I had spent it seemed like 12 hours listening to child hunger. And I thought, they're not the only people, as we all know, those of us that work in this realm, that are hungry. And let's put some of this power behind older adult issues also. So I've loved the welcome that I got from Wynella and Mark back in 2012 or 2013. And I also have loved working with Mark Edwards. Mark is unbelievable. What he has done for Dallas County older adults is pretty phenomenal. If you look back on the history of programming for older adults, Mark has left probably a bigger impact in his 3 or 4 years here than everything that went before it. So, you know, I'm leaving y'all in good hands. I'm not worried. And just watch it though. I may be one of the people calling, complaining about something. So I think I'm going to enjoy retirement and get into it. So Mark, now I will turn it back to you.
Well, Katie, thank you again so very much. We're not going to say goodbye. We're going to say see you later, because I will certainly, and I know Erica would agree, at some point need to draw on that expertise that only you can offer. So again, thank you so much for all you've done, and you know, enjoy your retirement. And we all celebrate you. We all applaud you. So moving right along, and I want to talk a little bit about what we covered in the last meeting and what we're looking at doing going forward. What's more powerful, a single raindrop or an entire pour down? Clearly, an entire pour down you're able to do much more. You're able to move mountains, in fact. And likewise, what's more powerful, a single finger or 5 fingers coming together. 5 fingers coming together, you can build, you can pull, you can strengthen. And that was really kind of our conversation from the last meeting when we talked about the impact that all of these outstanding resources offer in our seasoned citizen community. And so we did a brief survey, and on that screen, you'll see an example of the data that was collected. The senior hunger related resources, we had a number of agencies provide who they are and the impact that they have as it relates to the work that they do in the older adult community. And so we want to build upon those resources in order to have the greater impact in meeting the needs of our older adult population. And so there's a sample. The link for the entire list is in the agenda that was emailed out to you. And I think that it will also be available in the chat room and, as well. So if there's anyone that wasn't on the call, the last call at the last meeting and didn't have the opportunity to share, why don't we just take a minute right now? If you have not shared your resources at the last minute, why don't you unmute yourself and we'll give you that opportunity to do so that your information can be captured as well. Anyone? I don't hear anyone. So with that being said, again, when we're talking about impact, as I pass it back to Katie, we really want to have an engaged and an active action team. And so it's going to involve all of us in order to move the needle in addressing the hunger issues as it relates to older adults. So our next project, I'm going to switch it over to Katie. Why don't you talk a little bit about what our plans are?
Okay, thank you very much. Wynell and Mark and I met a couple of weeks ago and really kind of thought about what would be a next step for this group. What would be something exciting, interesting for this group to do next? And Mark came up with this wonderful idea of a senior hunger summit, really using the opportunity to hear directly from older adults about their experiences with food access and food security. I think we spend a lot of time talking about what we think the issues are, and yet at the end of the day, the people dealing with these issues are older adults. So this would be an opportunity for us to learn from them. It also would be an opportunity to hear directly about their experiences with food access, to share information and resources. So everyone will be able to have a table, have a booth, whatever, and share the information about how your program or your service or your organization can help hungry older adults. And then at the end of the day, it's also just about social interaction and enrichment and fun. I think we've all gone through a dreadful almost 2 years right now where everyone has been so locked in their own homes, in their own world, that this has been a real problem for older adults. They haven't felt safe getting out. They have not trusted their ability to go anywhere or do anything. And so there is a huge isolation problem. And at the end of the day, I think we all understand that even older adults that have healthy food in a sufficient amount, if they're depressed, they're not going to eat. So it affects their quality of health. So this really allows us to provide them a time for social interaction, a time to get together. It's actually, I think it's going to be real exciting. I'm looking forward to following up with Erica and seeing what kinds of plans there are. And I'm looking at a question from Susan Blackburn, who says she wishes the summit could be scheduled sooner than May. And so that's something we can talk about. I do think we need to, the sooner we do it, the more help, the more people really committed to working on it there's going to have to be. We chose May just because it's Older Americans Month. It's finally the month where the weather is, if not predictable, at least fairly decent. But I'm sure, you know, that if people have some other ideas of timing, obviously we don't want to do anything, I don't think, any later than May, because if we do, then we've run into the summer heat. But so right now, we really want to talk about what different people can bring to the table and different ways that people can help, what kinds of things they're interested in, committee they would be willing to serve on. And I will say this, Wynella is probably the queen of summits. She is, I know that most of you, if not all of you, have been to one of our hunger summits that is put on in September. And this is one of the major activities. No, I can't even say it's a major activity. Wynella coordinates everyone, keeps us all straight, and still manages to put on a hunger summit with a bunch of volunteers. So this is something that she is very good at. But at this time, I would like to kind of open it up to people, and let's hear what people think about the idea and about what other things we should build into this, because this has a chance to be a really good event for older adults. So comments, questions, feel free to take yourself off of mute. I know having a discussion over Zoom can be a little bit difficult, but I believe it can be done. So please, what do you think about the idea? Are you committed to it? Is it something that excites you? Do you have other ideas of things that we could build into the event? Okay, and Elena Pierre thinks it's a great idea. Thank you, Elena. We did too when Mark came up with it. Other comments?
Good morning. Oh,
Go ahead, LaShawn.
Yes, LaShawn.
hi. Good morning, everyone. So I know you said we could hear from older adults about their experiences with food insecurity, and I think that's great. I would love to hear from some older adults about that. Are you looking to make this like an expo? At least that's what I have in my mind. Like part of it would be panel discussions, and then other parts they could see like cooking demonstrations, get recipes, get signed up for different resources if they need to. I would like to see like a health and wellness component. I know some older senior ladies that do like line dance routines. They are so cute. A demonstration like that I think would be awesome. So I'm thinking in my head expo, you say summit, but in my head it's sort of like the same thing where there are different tables, different presenters. It was something that we were planning before COVID and it didn't happen. We were going to do it at Gillies in Dallas, and so I'm thinking the same thing. So I would love to be on the planning committee or whatever committee you guys need me on to help. So it's just my 2 cents.
Great. And yeah, I think those are some of the things we've talked about, bringing in healthy, active, older adults, like the line dancers. Those are always great. Having entertainment, having really, I would love to have a panel of older adults talking about what their experiences are trying to access healthy food. I was very excited a couple of years ago when we did a needs assessment and actually asked older adults what their concerns were with food, why they didn't have them, because this needs to be something where they help us drive the bus, because at the end of the day, they know why they're not able to get good food. So yes, I think an expo idea, that really sounds like what it is, what we have talked about putting into it. Other comments, questions? Mark, do you have anything? Or Erica?
Yeah, so I don't know how this could work, and I don't know even if it's a good idea, but in my mind, I'm thinking about some of the responses we got about why it may be difficult for older adults to afford their food, and utilities, paying for utilities is kind of one of the things that pops up. And so I think it would be great if we could add a utility assistance component in there, because I'm thinking about, the things that my team does. I don't know what that would look like, how that would work on a logistical level, but that's just kind of what's in my head at the moment.
And I'm glad you thought of that. I hadn't thought of that. I was thinking about having navigators set up to help people sign up for SNAP and other benefits. But yeah, if we can work it some way, getting some support from TXU and Atmos and from the Elder Financial Safety Center to bring in our staff who does such a great job of paying utilities, then yes, I think that would be a great idea. I mean, truthfully, in thinking about some of the ideas that, and yes, somebody else put remember transportation. I think it's very important both for us to, that's going to be a primary key to making this a success, is how are we going to get people there? And then also at the end of the day, what kinds of transportation is there out there? How can we encourage better transportation? And I want y'all to remember that one of the committees of the Hunger Coalition is a public policy committee. And I really would like to see some kind of advocacy put in this also. Is there something we can advocate for, something going on? So that's just a few of the ideas. But Erica, thank you. That would be great. Mark?
Yeah, no, I think that, thank you, LaShawn, thank you, Erica, and Katie. Great, a great overview of what initial thoughts and plans are. And again, going back to my earlier comments and the previous meeting, there are so many great resources that are part of this senior action team that we learn from, that can be a resource for our seasoned citizens. And so going back to some of the things that LaShawn was saying, yes, we do want to keep it interactive, where there may be some performance opportunities from some of our seniors, but also sort of an exhibit hall type where they'll have a passport to visit all of those resources, and time to take advantage of the information available. But also being able to hear from them, being able to allow them the opportunity to ask the right question, and for us to hopefully be able to point folks in the right direction. So this is just our initial introduction to this. We will certainly be following up, but for all of those that are interested in participating in a subcommittee planning, please send your information to Wyanella, and she'll put that list together.
And I think, Wynella, you were going to talk about the questionnaire that we have. We're not just going to let you say in a chat that you'll do it. We want you to sign up.
Yes, there is a Senior Hunger Summit interest survey. It's a Google form, and the link is in the chat. And if you got my email with today's agenda, there's a link there also in the agenda. And so if you would go, and I'm hoping you can, I'm hoping you can mark more than one for number 6. I went back and changed that. I hope I changed it for number 6, where you're asked how you can help. Just if you're not allowed to choose more than one way to help, and you would like to help in multiple ways, then just write a note or something, just under other, just put it there somewhere on the form that you're interested in what and how you can help, and or in the comments and suggestions. But if you'll fill out the form, and then I'll collect all those responses, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Wynella. And I just saw in the chat that Allison Parson was talking about not so much transportation to the event, but transportation in general. That's one group of people we will definitely reach out to, is anyone and everyone who provides transportation. But as you see, Mark says that transportation is currently available through AARP 50 plus. So I hope the day will come when we can talk about something other than transportation, but I'm afraid right now it is one of the major concerns for older adults, and one of the major reasons why they do not want to give up their car, because they know once they do, they're dependent upon other people. At this point, we're a little ahead of time. Y'all were more than willing to step in and help. The one thing that I will say is y'all will probably convene in January, and then between January and the summit date, do be flexible and plan on giving us a decent amount of time to plan this event to get it going. I think it's going to take a while. And at this point, does anyone have any other news or opportunities to share that they would like to talk about? Anything going on in your organization or your group that you think this group would benefit from knowing about?
Well, I'll just piggyback on what Mark was saying about, in the chat, Mark put a note that transportation is currently available through AARP 50+, and it's free until December 17th. That's a key part of it, is that rides are free through December 17th. And in fact, I have a call this afternoon with Jonathan Braddock, who is the community development manager for Phoenix Mobility, who's partnering with AARP on this, in this effort, to find out more about how that works and how seniors can access these free rides, because I'm not sure that everybody really knows how to do that. Organizations partner with this initiative, and typically organizations pay the fare for their clients to participate. But now that it's free, I'm not clear if people have to be referred by organizations or if they can go on the platform. I think they can just go on the platform, but again, the platform's online, but I think you can call. So so I'm not really, it's great the rides are free. Mark, do you have any more that you can tell us about that?
Yeah, we've been working with Jonathan and his team from the beginning. And they were assisting in providing initially COVID transportation for older adults to receive COVID shots. Since then, they've expanded to being able to provide transportation for physician visits, pharmacy visits, and even random, as you said, through December 7th currently. And it's all free. It's a matter of a phone call. And we have assisted our seniors by doing the call in and registering them for transportation. But it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's simple call in, and transportation is provided for those seniors. Yeah, I think that would be great for Jonathan and his team to be on this on the action team.
Yeah, he's a pretty busy guy, because I think he's out there trying to develop relationships and develop more partners. But he also drives occasionally. I think he gets called on to drive. So anyway, but yeah, I do have a brief call with him today, so I'm going to try to initiate that.
Good.
I put the phone number for the free rides in the chat, along with the information, and also the Dallas County link for the flyer for their ride program is in the chat as well.
Thank you.
And we have started a partnership with Senior Planet. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Senior Planet or not. It is, it started in New York, and it's really, the idea is to teach technology to older adults. And so we have started having a couple of trainings a month. So you can go to our website and find that information, what the trainings are and how to get them. Senior Planet has recently been taken over by AARP. So, you know, I think the idea is to go nationwide perhaps, but in Dallas, we do have the program. And I think that that's another thing that might be of interest to put into this expo, summit, whatever we choose to call it, about the lack of technology for older adults, and, you know, maybe some technology training. I know during the height of the initial shutdown, it was very difficult to get food to older adults because they didn't know how, they had no way of ordering food online. One of my favorite stories is Erica with our office would get up at midnight because that was the time when there were the least people trying to order food for our clients. So I think what we're looking at, what really the pandemic brought to the forefront is a lot of older adults have missed the technology wave that so many other people have been on. And that in times of a crisis, it really puts them at a negative. And Alice Ann had a question, how many seniors can afford technology? That is one thing that we think that the school districts looking at providing more internet connections to their students is also going to help older adults. A lot of what we're doing are things that can be done on a smartphone, and a decent number of our clients, even our very low income clients, have been given a smartphone. Primarily, I think, and Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of this is their children. What do you get mom for Mother's Day? You get her a phone so that you can make sure she's okay. It will continue to be a problem for a while. I think we need to remember, though, that the libraries are open again and that they have a lot of terminals there that are for use of the general public. So, yeah, it's a real complicated issue. There are a lot of things going on. But I think that it's one, if we ever have another problem like COVID, the more prepared we can have older adults, the better off we're going to be. Anything else anyone wants to, anything going on at other organizations that people would like to talk about?
LaShawn, what's happening with the Dallas Housing Authority?
Let's see.
Well, last I noticed, do you still have waiting lists for seniors who need your help, or tell us a little bit about the landscape there these days?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the wait list is for seniors. We have some sites that are seniors only. Well, I should say there are only a couple that are just seniors, and then there are some that are family properties that have seniors, and then we have our elderly disabled.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had, I don't know if it's significant, but I know we had some deaths during COVID at some of our senior places. I don't know how many. I would have to ask our housing operations people exactly how many vacancies we have. I think the wait list is open. So I think if a senior is interested, they can go into our website, put in an application and set a preference for a senior facility, but I don't know what the wait list is. I know the coordinators that I manage, we have been since August, the end of August, not seeing people directly. We've been on site, but we did another one of those things where we closed our office doors to the residents, but they are able to call or email if they really need to speak to us. I know that greatly impacts our seniors just because they prefer the fellowship. Same thing with our senior centers that are run by the county. They've been dropping off meals, but part of the program was they used to congregate and have meals together and do arts and crafts activities. So I know our seniors are struggling. I think they're still doing telebingo though, Mark. I'm not sure if they're still doing telebingo. So that's one way of gathering. Even for Thanksgiving, we used to do at some of our places a big community dinner. That's not going to happen this year just because of COVID. So hopefully numbers will go back to a reasonable level and we can start at the beginning of the year. I feel bad because I know the holidays are coming and we would like to do something. So if we can think of something creative that's going to be socially distanced or take precautions, we'll try to work with our program partners to do it. But unfortunately, just given where we're at, we haven't been able to do much in that space. I know we did have a program partner, since we were talking about technology. He's a guy that, so you know how they get those phones where if you're on some sort of government assistance, you get a cell phone and you get a certain number of minutes. Well, they have a program where they're giving out tablets as well that are funded through T-Mobile. So it's like just a $10 activation fee, and then they have, they can, the pad is theirs, and then they can use it, and then as long as they have any access to Wi-Fi, the pad will still work. So that could be an option for some of the seniors, is that and so I know they're coming to one of our sites, Odelia Manor, to give out those tablets to the seniors that want it, that can afford the one-time $10 activation. And then there's no charge for any monthly service charges, because it's paid for through T-Mobile while the pandemic is still happening. And then afterwards, you know, they'll just be responsible for, I guess, having access through a Wi-Fi connection or wherever they go. So that's another option, but that's about all. We're just trying to, you know, serve our seniors as best they can. We know we still give out our monthly food boxes through, it used to be paying, what is it, CSFP. So we're still doing our CSFP boxes. We still do our North Texas Food Bank boxes, Crossroads. So we still make sure that our seniors get access to food. That's one service we haven't cut out during this time. But in terms of our social activities, that's the only thing that's really suffered at this point.
Well, thank you. That's a great update, LaShawn.
And we're starting gardens at 2 of our sites, thanks to Mark and the county. So hopefully next year we'll have gardens at our Buckeye location and maybe Roseland. So we're excited. We did a site visit. We have the space, we have the people. We are just excited. So of course I'm going to be calling Juanella and saying, hey, we need recipes, we need cooking demonstrations. We're going to be cooking all the, you know, growing all this great food. How do they prepare it so that it's still nutritious and it tastes good? So
I'm sorry, repeat. I heard Roseland, and what was the other property?
Buckeye. Well, it's Buckeye.
Buckeye.
Sometimes everyone else likes to call it Turner Courts or Bonton. It's not Bonton or Turner Courts anymore. It's Buckeye Trail Company, but it's right next to Bonton Farms. It's our property right next to
Buckeye.
Bonton.
Okay, well, that's
Well,
great.
That is wonderful, and I'm willing to bet that you have some residents that cannot wait to get their hands in that dirt.
We do, and we're hoping to find some young kids that want to work alongside them, so that it's a dual generational thing, so that we have a plot for the kids and then we have a plot for the seniors, and hopefully they'll do it together.
That is wonderful, LaShawn. That's exciting.
Okay.
And I would like to encourage people, if you're interested in community gardening, always read everything that Juanella sends you, because there have been different funds available lately from different sources for people that are interested in doing a community garden. So kind of pay attention to the things that Juanella sends out. And I'm going to put another plug on. Obviously, all of y'all are on our mailing list, but there is so much useful information in everything that Juanella sends out. And I just think that's great. And if you're having an event or something like that you would like for her to send to this group, please send her a flyer and she will do it. Our staff gets real excited anytime I show them how we have gotten publicity from of something that Juanella has sent out. So it's thank you very much.
Hey, I have an announcement, if you don't mind.
Yes, love it.
I'm Allison from Super Bowl at Carrying, and most of you guys know that we've been working on this program called the Tackle Hunger Map that allows you to see where food charities are, and we're in the process of really encouraging our charities to take just a second. Literally, that's all it takes when there's an email connected to the charity on our map for them to indicate their status. One of the things we're learning very quickly, and we're working with Wyanella, we're working with Unite the Church, and we're working obviously with a lot of other groups here in DFW, especially as a kind of a, it's almost like this is a great pilot program for what we're trying to accomplish. When charities indicate their status and they say they're red on our map, that means that they likely are turning people away. It doesn't matter what charity it is. City Square is a good example. They're having difficulties. Now, if that's the case, then should Parkland be sending their clients there? No. But how do they know that? They only know it because there is a resource, i.e. the Tackle Hunger Map, where charities can very easily indicate that. At the same time, we're working all different avenues, whether it's the state government, whether it's the federal government, whether it's churches locally, whether it's churches nationally, to say, what happens if a charity says they're red? Well, there should be a mobilization then that makes sure that that red goes away very quickly, because the last thing we want in our community is for people to be turned away at whatever charity they're going to for assistance, because we know that medical outcomes a lot of times ride on whether or not they can get access to good food. So just kind of wanted to put it out there. We're speaking tomorrow at the Hunger Free Communities Summit that's going on today, starting like here in 10 minutes. If you don't know about it, you should go to the Alliance to End Hunger's website. You can join that in 30 minutes. It's like $25 for both days. And we're speaking along with our buddies at Dell who helped us conceive this to begin with. And then another friend of Super Bowl of Caring, Food for the Soul, who's here in Dallas, Fort Worth, another food charity. Anyway, just kind of wanted to put that plug. If you're interested in talking to me a little further, I'll put my email address. Wyanella knows exactly how to find me, but would love any, if your charity is not on the map, easy to do so, just email me, but also you can go to the map and enter it there. So thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And I think I put map.tacklehunger.org. I put that in the chat. That's where you can find the Tackle Hunger map that Allison is speaking about.
Yeah, and we're in the infancy stages of this, but quite literally, started it because of the pandemic. And it's really been fascinating now that we're working with the Parkland Center for Clinical Innovation. They see the usage of it for their social workers. And that, it's a solution that we've never really seen before, to where any charity can get access to, number one, the awareness of, hey, we need some help, come help us. That's as simple as it can be, but it brings together all the communities that Wyanella has action committees for, the churches, the state and federal and local governments. All of those can assist when we see a food charity that's in need. And a food charity to us is anyone that's feeding people. So that's Refugee Services of Texas, that's the Senior Center, Senior Source. Every one of you who is feeding somebody should be, you're a food charity in our eyes. So you need to be on this map, and we're working on that database, which there's never been a database of food charities built ever. So nobody knows where they are, and nobody knows where the holes are, where people are literally going without food. And we know that happens, and you guys know it as well. I mean, we know it. So we're working on all of those projects at the same time with a very limited budget, but we're also working on that. So at any rate, would love you to reach out. I'll put my email address in if you want to talk further.
Well, and there's a question in the chat about when is the next Super Bowl of Caring?
Oh gosh, well, Super Bowl of Caring is ongoing, but of course, Super Bowl of Caring traditionally happens before the Super Bowl.
Oh.
So the resources for all of our campaigns that we have going on, you can get all of that at our website at tacklehunger.org. We have all the new resources for the playbook, which is basically tells you how to have a Super Bowl of Caring campaign. Yeah, in that campaign, literally any group can have a campaign and then they donate the proceeds to whatever food charity they feel like is important. And then they report back to us what they did. That's what Super Bowl Curing is and has been for the last 32 years, with over $170 million worth to be reported to prove it. So that's why we started the Tackle Hunger Map, really to help that, uniting all communities to tackle hunger. Gosh, I mean, if you think about what I just said about the Tackle Hunger Map and what it can be used for, it even blows me away, because the map conception came out of a conversation I had with a guy from the Department of Defense who just said, "Hey, Allison, can you tell me what local food charities need right now?" And I said, "Well, do you want a static picture? Like, do you want me to just ask the charities that I know what they need right now? Or do you want that to be ongoing?" And thus the map was born. So, and look at what we can do with it. And now that we see the, what has happened since the pandemic. So at any rate, certainly happy to talk to any of you. Didn't want to hijack the meeting.
Anyone else have anything that they want to share? I think we have learned a lot of really good things today that are going on. And I think in thinking back over the pandemic, as bad as the pandemic was, I think we have to look at some really good things that have come out of it. That, and while there's not a one of us who would trade a single person who did not make it from the pandemic, I think we're stronger because we've learned more about where the weaknesses are, and yes, I'm talking to the, I know I'm preaching to the choir. Those of us in aging have always known that the weaknesses were in aging services, that older adults were overlooked, quite often forgotten. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't use the publicity that we got from the pandemic and the needs of older adults to not make an impact.
There's a question about, is it possible to have transportation help for food pickup? I know there are different strategies kind of around that. I'll invite you to attend our public policy forum next week at 1 o'clock on November 11th. And I think you've probably been getting flyers about that. Roadblocks to food security and alternative routes, rethinking the role of transportation. We will have a panel of speakers from around Dallas talking about strategies that are underway and initiatives underway. Well, I'm glad to see you've registered. So that's a good question to raise there in that forum. There'll be a panel and there will be an opportunity for the audience to raise questions with them. There are transportation initiatives going on, as we've spoken about, around town, but I know it's hard to navigate where, all of them and just what's possible.
Anything else? Mark?
I don't have anything else other than thank you so very much. And again, congratulations. We're excited for you.
Thank you. I'm going to miss all of y'all. Hopefully I will see you around, and just keep up the good work.
I just have a quick question. Who do I see about getting the chairman of our church food pantry on your list?
And what list is that?
Well, for this senior source, I don't remember how I connected with you, but I don't see Michelle here. And I don't know if Michelle is on the list. She's the one that does our food pantry at our church. And she may be interested in these resources. And is there a list of all these resources y'all are talking about that she can plug into?
Well,
Because I know she gets a lot of questions about housing and food, and my personal resources have failed me this year. And so a lot of this is helpful to me personally, but I'm just wondering, is there a list? I know that once a student from the medical school came to our pantry, signed up the folks for Agape Clinic, which we had never heard of before, and it's close to the church. We're an inner city church. And a lot of us, me included, unfortunately, have had to use that clinic. And they charge like $30 a visit. No, it went up to 35 for if you can afford it, or you pay what you can afford. And they also have a medical clinic. And how is there a list of those kind of resources available?
I would think the senior source would be a place to start.
Yeah, you know, I actually have a really long guide that we use for our resources. And I actually have something I created myself that kind of has some of the top things that people ask about, like food and dental and hearing and vision. So, I mean, if you're interested, I mean, I can give you my number or my email, or I can get your information and send it to you, whichever you prefer.
Just call me at 972-880-0682. My email is all lowercase aliceangel.1946@gmail.com.
Okay, so email one more time. You said Alice Angel, and what's the last part? I'm sorry.
I can send it to Alice.
Oh,
I
you got
have
it?
your contact information. I'll share it with Erica Sampson
Perfect.
at the Senior Source. And Alice, I can also send you this, you know, the list that we've generated. Mark talked about a list earlier in the meeting. That's just a short list of folks who were on a call with us back in the summer and shared information. So I can send that to you. And then if you reach out to Erica, she's got some connections. I mean, the help is out there, or the resources are out there. And that's what we're trying to do in this strategy. It's trying to help connect people to some of those.
Yeah, because where we are, unfortunately, they moved we have no low income housing in our neighborhood any longer. And they made them all into expensive condos. And so a lot of people are looking for housing, transportation, medical, dental, and all that. So I just wondered, you know, if you'll send me all that, I'll make sure Michelle gets it. And I'm not sure why she's not here. She may not be on your mailing list.
She might not be. You actually were connected to us through Crossroads a few years
Right.
ago.
Well, yeah, well, that's where we get our food for our food pantry. And we had a change in leadership, and Michelle may not have, that information didn't get passed to Michelle. So,
and I'd like to add another source for you. It's called Help Finders. It's also Help Finders / Aunt Bertha. You just put the zip code in, and it will show you an interactive map of all sorts of resources for you.
okay, it's Help Finders what?
Helpfinder.org.
That's it.
Help Finder, HELP finder.org.
Thank you.
One last resource, the Dallas County Area Owned Agency has a resource booklet just for seniors. So if you contact them, they can send you the booklet that has finance, transportation, utility, all of that in one booklet for seniors.
Is that where you dial 211?
No, it might be, yes. Actually, I take that back.
Yeah.
But I know they work as a part of the Community Council of Greater Dallas. They're under their umbrella agency. And they're right off Mockingbird, but I know they operate the area. I can never, it's D with 3 A's.
DAAA.
The Dallas area.
So I have their resource booklets, and so all of my coordinators have that. It's just for, they have one just for seniors. So they do have a booklet for you guys.
Yeah, and I think if you call 211, that would connect you,
To them.
yeah, to
Yeah.
them.
Thank you.
Well,
Well, this
every,
has all been very valuable information, and I will certainly get it to Michelle and get her. So Waniela, you're the one that emails everything, so I need to get Michelle's information to you then.
Yes, I'll email you, Alice, and you can share with me, and I'll connect Erica to it, and we'll get you situated.
Thank you.
Sure.
and everyone, I hope you have a wonderful holiday coming up and a great holiday season. So, and you'll see most of these people in January, but I don't think you're going to see me.
Well, you have a wonderful retirement, Katie. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Katie.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Round of applause for Katie. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll
Thank you,
talk to
everyone.
you again soon. Look for us in the new year. We're going to work on this hunger summit together, this senior hunger summit.
Mhm.
Have wonderful holidays to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. I'll be in touch,
Bye.
Mark.
All righty. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.